INEC goes over the Electoral Act and Reenactment Bill with fine-tooth comb. Says amendment will significantly improve Nigeria's electoral processes. Discussions on the petroleum industry bill have been on, but it took a pugilistic turn last week. We speak to some of the actors and APC members on the path of reconciliation in Zamfara as Katsina government and sacked local government executives have their day in court. Also on Political Update today, the push and pull of non-compliance with COVID-19 protection laws. I am Fisai Ogunfui. Welcome. Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says, has called on members of the National Assembly to ensure that amendments in the ongoing Electoral Act, repeal and a reenactment bill are considered when presented on the floor. INEC says the amendments will significantly improve Nigeria's electoral processes.
On Tuesday, the 26th of this month, the National Assembly Joint Committee on the Independent National Electoral Commission and Electoral Matters received the report of its technical committee on the bill seeking to repeal the Electoral Act No. 6 of 2010. 3 days after, the Parliamentary Committee has commenced the consideration of recommendations contained in the report.
It is also important to note that whatever is to be crafted in the electoral bill will be done with the fluency of the Nigerian Constitution.
The bill addressed many loopholes in the Nigerian electoral system by way of amending over 300 clauses.
The Independent National Electoral Commission observed that some recommendations in the amendment, if passed, will significantly improve Nigeria's electoral process.
One of the provisions that actually excites me a lot, parties will conduct their primaries and submit the names of their candidates to the commission at least 6 months to the next general election. This will enormously help us.
Similarly, the Senate Constitutional Review Committee has commenced review of the memoranda submitted by members of the public, the report of the 2014 National Conference, and the report of the APC Ad Hoc Committee on True Federalism.
We have decided in the leadership of the Senate that your work product must be ready for presentation on the floor of the Senate plenary in June.
The committee received 254 memoranda on various proposals, including state creation and local government autonomy.
The Supreme Court has reserved a day for hearing of the appeals on the dissolution of local governments, councils, executives in 2015 filed by the People's Democratic Party dissolved local government chairmen and councillors in Katsina State.
3 separate appeals filed before the Supreme Court by the appellants, all praying for nullification of the dissolution of the local government council by the governor of Katsina State, Bello Masari, in June 2015. Following the submission of brief of arguments by parties, counsel to the respondents, Liman Senior Advocate of Nigeria, urged the court to consolidate the appeals since they have the same prayers. This was not objected to by counsel to the appellants, Abdul Hamid Mohammed. Consequently, the court set aside a date for judgment to be communicated to all parties.
We suggested to their lordships that it is better that the appeals are harmonized so that we will have a judgment which there won't be conflict between judgment in one and judgment in the other.
One of the central issues now to be determined is the constitutionality of that dissolution, or whether the allegation of misappropriation, which is a criminal offense, can now be determined by a committee, of the State Assembly.
The dissolved local government chairmen and more than 300 councillors are pressing for the declaration of the action of the governor null and void and an order for their reinstatement.
Factional leaders of the All Progressives Congress in Zamfara State have agreed to work together and sustain efforts to build the party. Chairman, National Caretaker and Convention Planning Committee, Governor Mai Malabuni, spoke to journalists after a meeting with APC leaders from that state.
Although it took the APC Caretaker Committee about 6 months since it took over the mantle of leadership to reconcile the warring factions of the party in Zamfara State, the enthusiasm shown to leave the past behind by the Abdulaziz Yari and Senator Kabiru Marafa group, the caretaker chairman says is worthy.
And by extension is the reconciliation of entire Zamfara APC as a family.
Both leaders reacted to these.
All of us are human beings meant to make mistakes, errors, and understanding that that mistake can be corrected to bring back our party to limelight in the state.
I hope our own mistake will serve as a source of strength for all of us, and for APC itself especially, and the country in general.
The reconciliation meeting held behind closed doors was attended by stakeholders of the party in Zamfara State, including former Governor Mahmoud Shinkafi.
So I'm here to see the national.
Meanwhile, Governor Abdullahi Sule of Nasarawa State, shortly after a meeting with the caretaker chairman, expressed confidence that the ongoing membership registration will breed a stronger party members.
So it's an excellent exercise, and I'm calling on all Nigerians, to come and register and be members of our own party.
The party registration and revalidation exercise has since commenced nationwide.
We'll take a short clip next because last week the public hearing on the petroleum industry bill at House Representatives featured some fisticuffs following disagreements between some representatives of host communities producing oil and gas in Nigeria. When a group was called to submit its memorandum, a fight broke out amongst the members and security agents had to intervene to restore order.
All we are agitating for is 10% equity. What our fight was there is because of 10% equity.
That was not an Olympic boxing final, but one of the persons in that scuffle is in the studio with us today, Prince Mike Ume, National Chairman, Host Communities of Nigeria Oil and Gas. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
What was just supposed to be the submission of a memorandum of understanding became a free-for-all for there. What happened?
Basically, I must, on behalf of the host committee of Nigeria and people of the Niger Delta, I must appreciate the effort of the National Assembly, particularly the House of Reps and Senate that called for the public hearing on the PIB bill. PIB bill had been an executive bill that was sent by the late President Musa Yar'Adua to the National Assembly over 14 years ago. And this time around, the National Assembly deemed it very, very important and necessary to invite the public for public hearing. We were invited. I, as the national chairman of the host community, I was officially invited. And gate pass were given to me. And first day, I was not called upon. Second day, I was called upon to make presentation. Before I could stand up, I received beating from the back, and until I was really floored down from the seat. Not that there was a fight. I never exchanged a word with anybody. Neither stand up to defend myself. I was sitting just because I was called upon. And the factional chairman, one Benjamin Style, came upon me, and that is what they can see on the screen on demonstration. But even then, when I stood up, I didn't fight back or argue for anything.
But what is
the point was that there are 9 factions of host communities for the Niger Delta. That's naturally unfortunate that 7 amalgamated to be one body, and the other 2 remain on their own. And so we have the host community of Nigerian producing oil and gas, HOSCON, HOSCON. And then we have the host committee of Nigerian producing oil and gas, HOSCOM, HOSTCOM. So M meaning community. Okay. Why on my side N mean national. So Nigeria, host committee of Nigeria producing oil and gas, HOSCON, Nigeria, like TropCon. Okay. And so the host community stood up to fight me that I should not make presentation. And it was wrong, because presentation, if you are invited for public hearing, you should make your presentation. And all over the world and all over the country, it was naturally unfortunate that it happened that way. Just on don't present. HOSCON should not present, only HOSCON. But I think that the idea behind it is that everybody should present their position paper to the National Assembly. That's what we're there to do. And then we could present both my faction and the other faction. That does not actually go well to the Niger Delta. It was rubbish. It was a dishonor to the hallowed chamber that such a thing should happen. And I think that the hallowed chamber and the federal government should look into it. But then the people of the Niger Delta are sad towards that event. Although the perpetrator that fought me tendered an apology yesterday, in yesterday Vanguard, and also today at the office of the essay to the president on Niger Delta affair, Senator Ita Inyang, today. He invited us for a meeting on the issue of the lack of submission of HOSCON and HOSCON presentation. And right there, we agreed that what should be the benefit to the Niger Delta should be given to the Niger Delta in the PIB. And so we have agreed on the differences. On their side is that they are saying that it should be 10% equity to the host community. On my side, I'm in line with the Honorable Minister for Petroleum. I'm in line with the National Assembly, with the Deputy Senate President, that 2.5% should be given to the host community as production quantum, not equity. Because equity, we may not be able to finance it. But production quantum is that whatever is produced from your area, have 2.5% of it, production quantum, then you can sell it. If the price rises per maybe 1 million barrel, how much per one? It may be, presently now we're having $50 per 1 million barrel. So if the production quantum belongs to you and the price rises to $100 million, $100 per barrel, then you profit. If it goes down, then you can hold to your equity. So we are saying that 10% equity, if it's going to cost the oil company 100 billion to carry out operation, then you present 10% of that, which we don't have such money. So we are saying give us 2.5% production quantum in benefit of the host community.
All right, let's move on a bit. Is there any possibility of a cohesive front from the Niger Delta moving forward? Yes, especially looking at how long this bill has been.
Basically, I think the federal government should expedite action towards implementing what they have promised the host community in terms of gas flare trust fund, in terms of pipeline surveillance contract to the owner, in terms of 10 modular refinery licenses waiver to the host community, in terms of direct allocation of 30% derivation to the host community based on the amended Constitution 1999, Section 162, Subsection 2, stated that 30% derivation is the right of the host community, not of state government or local government. So if the federal government will do something to the host community, I have been on leadership for over 4 years now, and the relative peace we enjoy in the Niger Delta today, the ceasefire with our boys and so forth and so on, is as a result of my initiative. And so if we are doing and they are listening to us, federal government should do something now to ameliorate the agitation of the people.
Let's, look at it holistically. This has been in the pipeline, literally for years.
Yes.
But the angst displayed on the floor may have taken us back a bit. How do we quickly begin to, heal this wound and move forward?
I think that moving forward is to allow it to increase the percentage of the income that goes to NDDC to remain, to move forward.
I mean, we're talking about representation. For instance, we have had, you just explained to us the OSCOM thing.
Yes.
If you are leaders representing the host communities, one would expect something like one voice in terms of your presentation.
Issues of one voice in the Niger Delta becomes elusive in the sense that the Niger Delta, naturally, they have the best reception to be accorded to any visitor, but they do not have respect for elders. they don't have respect for leadership. And that's a common problem with the Niger. In the whole North, when a leader pronounces a thing, it stands. In the Niger Delta, let a traditional ruler give a verdict, the people will not yield to it. So I think that the issue of agreement and disagreement is part of marriage. We will know how to marry ourselves if we bring our ideas together, our innovation together towards industrialization, towards agriculture, towards employment, towards the development of the region. Will not be measuring on issues of the division.
All right. Let's before I bring you back for the closing statement, I want you to look at this. We will get to see your submissions, yours as OSCOM and OSCOM, because what we have only been able to see is the dexterity of the members in wrestling and boxing.
Yes. I think that that was the outcome of day 2, but I think that presently, as per today, we've all agreed that both sides of the HOSCOM and HOSCOM, we've all agreed that this should be what we are submitting to the for the PIB.
All right, before we come for your closing comments, let's take a few more stories. Nigeria is now expecting 16 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines this month against the 100,000 Pfizer doses earlier envisaged. PTF chairman and the Secretary of the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, at the national briefing says increasing the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines is necessary towards achieving vaccination of 40% of Nigerians this year as the second wave of the pandemic sweeps across the world.
The nation now looks forward to a massive rollout of COVID-19 vaccines, just as more cases of a dreaded strain of the virus are confirmed in the country.
On the 30th of January, our partners at the Africa Center for Excellence in Genomics in Ede confirmed 6 more cases of the UK variant in Nigeria, and 1 in the FCT, the old one, 5 Oshun, and 1 from Kwara State. So altogether, we now have 7.
By the time the West vaccinates its people, there will be heavy restrictions of even movement across the globe. So we must try as much as possible to get ourselves on course with vaccination.
The full cooperation of state governments will be critical with regard to supporting remuneration of vaccinators and smooth running of the operation.
The information out there that the COVID-19 vaccine contains harmful elements that alters the DNA is patently false.
The Presidential Task Force insists that civil servants from grade level 12 and below should work from home, urging state governments to begin enforcement of the COVID-19 health protection regulations signed by the President.
I repeat again, all employees and the head of civil service of the Federation has already issued a circular to this effect. From grade level 12 and below shall continue to work from home, and no MDA is allowed to vary these instructions.
And it is expected that every organization will monitor compliance of staff or the space within which they supervise.
The NCDC indicates that Nigeria is currently experiencing an increase in severe COVID-19 cases and fatalities, urging Nigerians to comply with all non-pharmaceutical guidelines for public health and safety.
Meanwhile, about 100 persons have been arrested by the FCT COVID-19 enforcement team for non-compliance with the Coronavirus Disease Health Protection Law 2021, recently signed by President Muhammadu Buhari.
Most offices in the Federal Capital Territory are adhering to the use of face masks, but public places like the Wuse Market, plazas and other designated areas remain vulnerable, with the level of compliance to safety measures minimal. Those without face masks were denied access into the Federal Secretariat complex.
The people you see behind me have been arrested for outrightly flaunting the NCDC COVID-19 protocols.
About 100 persons were arrested by the FCT COVID-19 enforcement team.
I've been arrested for not putting on face mask.
So we cannot fight with the government. We have to follow rules and regulation. That was the reason why I'm here.
They were tried, convicted and fined by a mobile court sitting at the Eagle Square, Abuja.
The judge, in her wisdom, after seeing what transpired here today, that's the judge, Idayat Akoni, she actually gave a very strong ruling that three key, areas of default, as the Wuse market, the UTC market and the Mock Plaza, be shut down until they comply.
After many arrests, the team advised Nigerians to comply with the executive order by President Muhammadu Buhari to avoid second nationwide lockdown.
All right, just before we close, we're still here with the Chairman of Communities Nigeria Oil and Gas, Prince Michael May. Before we go, can we have a snippet from that submission and what your expectations are?
We've done a very good submission, and we're expecting that the PIB bill will be passed into law in favor of the host community so that the neglected Niger Delta region will be developed. And for what has happened, I would say that to err is human and to forgive is divine. Niger Delta should go for peace, for unity and progress. No one should think about rioting or fighting because someone was fought, hands down. But I want to say that Benjamin Starr, the man that carried out the act, should apologize to me, and that's just all. I'm expecting
Has he done
that.
so?
No, he's here to do so. Though we met today because of the invitation that was extended to us by the FSA to the President, Senator Ita Inak. But we've agreed on the issues of the PIB together. And the leaders of thought in the Niger Delta, we invite both of us and tell us what to be done. There must be peace, there must be progress for the Niger Delta and Nigeria, and the PIBB will be passed in our favor.
All right, that's been Political Update today. I want to thank you very much for coming on the program. Keep on watching the Nigerian Television Authority, of course, where we give you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. My name is Fisal Ogunfi, hoping that you'll be a part of it again on Friday. We'll bring you another topic and, of course, all the happenings in the political world. Don't forget, man is a political animal. Play your politics for the national good.